Well, hello everybody. We're going to make exercise 10, which you can see in the drawing right in front of you here. Um, I think the challenge of this one is you've got a lot of tangent curves and things of that nature, which, not super hard, but it sometimes can be a challenging. I've noticed some people having some issues with that on exercise 8 in particular. So, hey, let's do some more practice with that. All right, so here is our basic shape. I think what we're going to want to do, if you notice the way this is oriented, is we'll want to make a sketch on the front plane. Um, Also, if you'll notice that you've got a hole and a slot that are kind of aligned with one another, though the slot is slightly narrower than the hole. If you notice, it's got a end diameter of 12, and this has a diameter of 15. Plus, then you have this hole down here, which translates to this kind of push out area right here. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my first hole right here on the origin and then build everything out around that. So let's go ahead and start with that. Now I've already created a document called EX10, and here I'm going to go to an isometric view and put the planes back in view. You can tell I already made this. Whoa, man, we got to zoom in on that dude. Oh, way out of there. Okay, there we go. So here we go. And what we're going to want to do, of course, is we're going to want to make a sketch on this front plane. So I'm going to right click, make a new sketch, hit N, and then let's hide all those planes. I'm going to right click and select hide all planes. Okay, so like I said, I was going to start with a circle here. And that thing is supposed to be a diameter of 15. So remember, you can just click and then type 15, and that way you don't have to go back and dimension it later. Okay, now we're also going to be making a slot. Okay, so you see this slot over here, and a slot is defined basically by a construction line that is the width of the slot. So if you notice this width is 40, and then the diameter of the ends is 12. Once we do that, we can then place it so the center of this hole and the dot that will represent the center of this left arc of the slot are 50 away from each other. So, and it does look like they are very much lined along the same line. So we can do that. So what I'm going to do then, whoops, I grabbed the wrong thing, is I am going to create a construction line, and I'm going to hover over here, come out here a bit, because remember I want it lined up. So I'm going to start it out here, go out a bit, click, and then type 40. Okay, so that's going to be the basis of my slot. Then I'm going to hit escape. Now, we also said that this dot here and this dot are supposed to be 50 away from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and dimension that now. Click, click, bring it up, make it 50. Okay, so now I'm going to hit escape so I can get out of that tool. I'm going to drag this up so it's out of the way. Then I'm going to get the slot tool. So remember, the slot tool is under the same drop down as the offset tool. So we'll get that, click on that construction line, and it makes a slot. So now all I have to do is click to end it, but then I am going to have to go back and change this to, I believe it was supposed to be, well, heck, I don't remember what it was supposed to be. So let's pull it back up. 12. Okay, so this diameter is 12. So let's go back here and double click this and change it to 12. And there it is. Okay, the other interior feature that we're interested in is these couple of concentric circles. Okay, and if you notice, they're not lined up horizontally or vertical. So I'm just going to drop them in down there somewhere, and then we'll worry about using the dimensions. So, and you definitely don't want to do anything like this, because that's going to make it vertically constrained, and that will be a problem later. So I'm just going to click, make a circle, and I forgot how big it was supposed to be, so I guess I'm just going to have to make 2 circles and then use the dimension tool. So let's see, they're a diameter of 20 and a diameter of 40, so let's do that. And yes, 20 and 40. So get the dimension tool. We'll make this one 20. Whoops, thought I clicked it. I did not. There we go. And this one is 40. Wow, that was pretty close. And there you go. But you notice they're still blue. It's because we just haven't located them relative to here. So if I go back to my drawing, you can see that from this line down to here, they've dimensioned that as a 40, okay? And then also they dimension the center of the hole as 85 away from the right-hand side of the slot. Okay, so 85 from there and 40 down. So let's start with that down dimension. So from here to here is 40. And then from here to here, whoops, I missed. Here to here is 85. Okay, so now those are placed where they're supposed to be. Now what we have is a series of arcs and lines. Okay, now I am going to try a different approach this time because what I've been doing in the past is just making circles that go around everything, you know, because these are clearly circles, and then connecting them. But I found something happens when you use that trim tool. You can actually get into trouble, and it will undimension some of the things that you've dimensioned. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make arcs for these three spots, and then this spot as well, and then some lines, and then we'll use dimensions and tangent constraints and coincident constraints to make it do what we want. Okay, so I'm supposed to have an arc that I'm going to make it go around here. You notice I'm purposely not lining it up with anything. I don't want to create any constraints that I might regret. Okay, so I'm going to make another arc over here, like from here to here maybe. And then I'm going to make another arc. Now it occurs to me, maybe it would be actually smart to use a center point arc. Ooh, let's try that. So then you click on the center point, and then you build it out here. Oh, and then like you, okay, and then you set the endpoints that way. So like if I was going to do that again, I'd probably set the endpoints a little differently, but hey, what the heck. Okay, so then we've got a couple arcs here. Now, one of the things I noticed that this is why the center point arc might be useful because look, the center of this arc is not centered around that hole, which we really want it to be. So I'm going to use the coincident constraint, fix that. In the future, I will use the center point arcs for stuff like this. So we're going to do that. And let's zoom in and get that. Okay, cool. Now we also need to make, now this one I am going to do a 3-point arc. Whoops, wrong tool. 3-point arc to connect this point, and then I'll bend it out a bit. Okay. But then these other ones are supposed to be straight lines. So you're going to notice it doesn't look right, but that's what we have constraints and dimensions for. Okay, so let's start off by dimensioning our arcs. Okay, so going back to my drawing, this one has a radius of 15. This one has a diameter of 30, which would make it a radius of also 15. And this one has a radius of 30. This one has a radius of 50. See if I can remember all that. So this one is supposed to be 15. This one is supposed to be also 15. This one is supposed to be 30. And this one was supposed to be 50. Okay, now what's going to fix this so it doesn't look like weird like this is tangent constraints. So let's get that tangent constraint and make a tangent between here and here, the tangent between here and here, and see, now it straightens it out like we wanted it to. So the tangent constraints are what's going to make this all come together. So I'm going to do a tangent between these two and a tangent between this and this. I should swing that way out. Whoop, I missed. There we go. And then tangent constraint between this and this. and this, and this. Well, look at that. So now we have a fully constrained um, sketch. Now, I kind of like that method better than making the big circles and going nuts with the trim tool. And mostly the reason is because that's when I made a practice run of this, I made these arcs all circles, and then I dimensioned everything, got everything all tangent and everything, and then I started using the trim tool, and everything went blue again because it messed up all these radiuses. So this is kind of like my new way of doing this. Live, presented to you for the first time. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and accept that sketch, get to my isometric view, and let's go back to our drawing and see how far we're supposed to do these extrudes. So this center thing, if you notice, from the bottom to the top is 15 and 20. So that would be a total of 35 actually. And then this outer part here is 15. So let's do that. So I'm going to do the inner part at 35. Change that to 35. Hit enter and accept it. Whoops. And you know, it does that thing where it hides a sketch. Don't freak out. It just hid the sketch. We can unhide that and then we can go right back to doing what we were doing. And that was supposed to also be a 15. Now it's important that I make this an add. Let's see what happens if I click on it, if it automatically changes it. Yeah, it did automatically change it to an add. Okay, well, that's cool. And then I'm going to make that 15. I'm going to accept it. Now I'm going to hide that sketch. And look at this. We're done. It's gorgeous. I love it. All right, guys, so there you go. Exercise 10.